Human rights groups and labor unions are launching a nationwide boycott aimed at toys made in China. Called a Toycott, the campaign's mission is to make Americans aware of alleged human rights abuse in China. A scholar at the Hoover Institution says there may be up to 6,000 forced labor camps in China. A leaflet campaign outside toy stores will start Friday in 7 cities, including San Francisco and Sunnyvale. The Toycott urges shoppers to look at labels closely.
So if a child picks up a toy and says, "Mother, this says made in China, and these people don't want us to buy this toy. Why is that?" It opens the window for the parent to talk about human rights in China and talk about human rights as an issue and why it's important to us as Americans.
Toy safety is also an important
From KTVU and first in the Bay Area, this is the 10 o'clock news on Channel 2, the #1 primetime newscast in the country.
Good evening, I'm Elaine Corral.
And I'm Dennis Richmond.
Demonstrations across the nation against fur products weren't the only protests aimed at shoppers today as the holiday buying season got underway. In Southern California, anti-war activists picketed a store in Santa Monica that sells a video game simulating an air war in the Persian Gulf. In Los Angeles, the Rainforest Action Network began a campaign to convince shoppers not to buy tropical hardwoods such as teak and mahogany. And in the South Bay, the target was any toy made in China. Lloyd LaQuesta covered that demonstration, and he has our report.
Protesters greeted shoppers today as they entered the Toys R Us store in Sunnyvale.
You want to boycott what? The toys made in China. Okay.
The group is called Support Democracy in China, and it doesn't want the world to forget what happened in China last year. The protesters say China's government killed or imprisoned thousands of political dissidents after the student uprising in Beijing's Tiananmen Square. But even before this, they say millions of Chinese were jailed as political prisoners and forced to produce products for Chinese export.
Toys is a symbol, it's gifts for children, and we feel it's not right to buy gifts made by an oppressive regime and with slave labor and continued human rights violations.
Some shoppers say today's demonstration convinced them to look at the labels before buying. One woman said the Made in China label prompted her to put a toy back on the shelf. Before this, would you have even thought about it? Happy holidays.
Not really. Toys I didn't really pay that much attention to. I know a lot of times on clothes, I try not to buy clothes made in China. But as far as toys, I never really thought about it that much.
But one shopper thought what the protesters called a Toycott is the wrong approach.
This way here, you just stop the trade. You just get the people, I think, in a worse condition. And I don't think it's helping them. It's a completely wrong method.
Which labor camp were you in?
I was in here, in Beijing. And then they moved me to Shanxi.
Professor Henry Wu of Stanford's Hoover Institution says his political views put him in Chinese labor camps for 19 years. He says there are still 16 to 20 million Chinese under forced labor in more than 1,000 Chinese labor camps.
We wish when you enjoy your Christmas, you have to think about human rights, the suffering situation in China. If we have a boycott, because really in China, many products involve the forced labor products.
Toys R Us, one of the largest toy chains in the nation, would not say how much of its merchandise is made in China, and it would not comment in general about this Toycott. And the Chinese government is also not commenting on this boycott, which is a nationwide effort. Organized labor, the AFL-CIO, is supporting the Toycott because it says Chinese children are working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and for just $30 a month to make toys for American children. Lloyd LaQuesta for the 10 o'clock.